And we're joined by legendary Hofstra, former Hofstra softball coach, Bill Edwards, discussing the 50th anniversary of Title IX. Coach, welcome.
Pleasure to be here, Len. Thank you for having me.
All right, so as you know, Hofstra has been celebrating the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and we'd like to get your perspective on a few things. So starting out, as a male coach of a female sport, as well as the father of a daughter who played softball collegiately, can you share your perspective of Title IX?
I think my perspective of Title IX immediately shifts to all of the incredible pioneers of our game. I think back on the Marjorie Wrights, the Linda Wells, the Donna Lopianos, the Joni Joyces of our game. Back in the day when we were struggling to get noticed and struggling to get equality within our game, those are the pioneers that fought those tough battles on and off the field to sort of make a statement as to what we were, what we stood for, the equality that we wanted within the athletic arena throughout the country. And when I speak at clinics, I always give those names out to the kids because I think it's important for us to educate the next generation or this generation of softball player into knowing who those pioneers were and what they did in order to get the sport to where it is right now. So they are the true leaders. They are the true they're the inspiration to what our sport is right now. And I just think we have to continue to make them part of the conversation.
Right. Those pioneers, some of the, a lot of the pioneers at Hofstra, the Cindy Lewis's and the Dr. G. Lombardo's, led to Bill Edwards becoming the softball coach. And during your tenure, the program experienced tremendous growth and success. How do you feel that your program under your watch benefited from Title IX?
I think it benefited tremendously. When you have people like Cindy Lewis and the people at Hofstra that you mentioned fighting, for sports, women's sports, the equality, it's a carryover effect. And we got to a point where during that period of time, it was almost like a double header. Hofstra was making a commitment to athletics, and the Title IX was becoming very prevalent. So when you have those two forces, pushing and making a statement, we saw budget increases, we saw scholarship increases, we saw fields, facilities, increase of staff. All of those things were a credit to everyone that was part of that should we call revolution of Title IX, and the pioneers and the people behind the scenes that were always making sure that there was equality spread throughout both the women and the men's programs.
Right. So now how important was it for you to press for improvements, not only to help your program but also as a role model for the women that you coached?
Everything that we did within our program was for the student athlete. So anything that we pressed for was to give the student athlete a memorable experience at Hofstra. And I think that was probably the single most important factor of developing the trust between the student athlete and the coaching staff. Whatever their concerns were when they would come into the office and stress a concern, we always tried to get after it and help them so that they could have a great education and a great athletic experience. And then sometimes I had to go out on my own to make sure that we were getting all the little things that we needed in order to make the big thing of being successful both on and off the field. But again, during that time, people were willing to listen. People understood that we were as important as the male program, that we were making inroads and impacts both on a local level and on a national level. So when you have all of those positives going for you, it made it a little bit easier from time to time.
Now, as someone who's been involved in athletics, most of your adult life as a athlete yourself, and then as a coach, a teacher, during the early years of Title IX through your tenure, How have you seen the progress from when Title IX was instituted through today, as you're still involved with the sport?
We've come a long way, obviously, particularly through the 90s with the explosion of women's athletics. But we have a long way to go. When you look at the current things that are going on, social media has really been the catalyst behind a lot of the educational processes and inequalities and things that are going on. Social media brought out the fact that the women's basketball weight room was not comparable to the men's weight room. They brought out the discrepancy in salaries or payment to the women's soccer team and the men's soccer team. So we have many issues that are still have to be addressed. But when you look back at, let's just take the 96 Olympics, okay? Because that was when the women's participation started at about 5% prior to the 90s. And then all of a sudden it jumped to 40% of women that are participating in athletics. And the 96 Olympics, you had women, you had gold medal women's team in soccer and softball and basketball and gymnastics. And you have this incredible exposure of women on the gold medal with little girls at home sitting watching this and saying, I want to get involved. So now you have even more participation from the women. You have just a tremendous influence and I'm looking for a word here, but it was just amazing to see the explosion after 96, and then obviously it is continuing today. So it's a long way to go. We have to keep fighting the fight. We have to make sure that everything that we do is equal, fair, and equitable. And that's all part of what we're here for, is to help the student athletes and to keep everything on an equal playing field.
All right. Something personal now. Obviously you've been retired now from Hofstra for 8 years nearly. Looking back at the success that you had, what are some of the proudest moments that you can take away from your time coaching the Pride?
It's what's going on now with the players, because once they graduate, that's when you find out whether or not you did a pretty good job as a coach or as an educator or as a teacher or as a mentor. And when we go to weddings, when we see our players achieving incredible success in the business world, or as teachers, or as administrators, as wives, as mothers, that's the key. That is what makes me the proudest, is when I get a text from someone that they have just been promoted at their job, or somebody's getting married and I get invited to a wedding, things like that. That's what makes me most proud to be a coach at Hofstra University, is all of the incredible young women that are out there right now, part of a Hofstra family. Some people call it a cult because we are so close, but it is something that I just look back on, and it's never about the wins. It's never about anything other than, okay, what are we doing with our lives now? Did we create a good citizen? Did we create a good mother? Did we create a good wife? Did we create someone who was making an impact within the community? And I think that that's probably what makes me most proudest, because when I get the information on these kids that are out there now, these young women, it's very rewarding for me.
Coach, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today and share your thoughts about Title IX and about your coaching career and what makes you most proud. And this has been the Title IX retrospective on the 50th anniversary of the passage of Title IX. Coach, thank you.
Pleasure, Glenn. Thank you.